I want to kill myself.
This game is just not it anymore. Game!
Even organ transplants are still cheaper than any of the good weapons in this game.
The PixelGun 3D you remember died a long time ago.
This game changed a lot. In the worst way possible.
I'd rather drag my balls through broken glass than ever play this game.
Right now, PixelGun 3D is still stuck in 2017 and 18. Nothing has changed in this game.
This game is so freaking cooked. I'm done. I'm done.
Do you remember the biggest problem in PixelGun 3D was weapons like the Judge, the Bees, the Resurrection? Compare those to the weapons and the state of the game today. That's a paradise.
The fact that every single time you level up, your weapons become obsolete is insane. That is horrible. No other game has that crap.
If a free-to-play player was to complete this event, it would cost you over 9,000 gems in order to do so. Somebody said it's either 9,000 gems or $159. What makes this even worse is that this is a community-created weapon. Somebody went out their way to create this weapon for PixelGun 3D for the developers to put it behind a massive paywall.
Steam flopped, and it could have been avoided so easily. There was no testing. There were no testers outside of the developer team, except for content creators who only got keys for PC days before its release. Yeah, no hacking testing. If only I could show you guys the content creator chat. If only I could show you guys how many times we asked the developers what they were doing about anti-cheat.
How can they not see? How can they not see the problem isn't the things that they're focused on? Because they've done this for over a year. It doesn't fix anything. So surely, right, they can see that that's not the problem. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results.
This is from one of the community managers who said, another highly requested feature is anti-cheat. We want to discuss this topic separately and we're sure of plans and actions in the upcoming posts. Highly requested. You're saying that you don't add a basic video game feature unless it's highly requested?
Oh, Devin, you dastardly dog. What happened to that Steam release? That was supposed to be our big break, to rope them all back in. What happened?
Well, we had a great launch, sir. We had 25,000 people online on the first day, actually. A lot of people were talking about it on social media. We had a lot of buzz around it.
Oh, Devin, if our launch was so successful and people were so interested, then please, enlighten me. Why are our servers fucking empty?
Well, sir, people aren't exactly thrilled with the current state of the game.
Oh, you silly rascal. The game's practically complete. Devin, silly employees like you should learn to never question our unbounded wisdom. It's a you problem. It's a player-based problem. Those sweat-drinking plebeians have an insatiable hunger. There's no doing good enough for them. So why not just try to do good enough for ourselves? Release a few guns and then just update again and then do the whole cycle over again. If it didn't work for 5 years, then why would we still be doing it? Silly employees like you must be corrected.
Hey, remember this? Yeah, the game I spent making a dumb 4-minute intro about? This is Minecraft with Guns, more well known as PixelGun 3D. Hilariously enough, this used to be one of the most popular mobile games on the market. It was my and many's big childhood game. Hey! I bet that got your attention, didn't it? As I was saying, Call of Duty Black Ops over here is a game many used to consider one of the best mobile games on the market. Then again, the bar is in fucking hell nowadays considering current options. Minecraft with Guns, hilarious as is, was once so popular, it managed to get many YouTubers to around 1 million subscribers, with some videos hitting in the multi-millions of views. This is a game that obviously had a wide appeal. Otherwise, its multiplayer servers wouldn't be active still 11 years after its release. But even as this game had such a grip on millions, somehow it managed to lose its spark. Nowadays, videos playing the game are lucky to break 50,000 views. Even those released by YouTubers with close to, if not over, 1 million subscribers to their name whose content was solely dedicated to the game. Public servers are so dead, they implemented bots that auto-join empty lobbies because, as sad as it is, they aren't the scarcity, they're a norm. Game modes without this bot join feature have absurdly long queue times because of that reason. Just how did a game with 185 million downloads manage to fade this far into obscurity after such a volcanic rise? Well, it's multiple reasons and not just the absurdity of the microtransactions and the pay-to-win monetization style. Some of the reasons are just actually kind of quite similar to the treatment of Team Fortress 2 from Valve. Both are pretty dead in the water in terms of the developmental state. Speaking of which, as time has went on, the development team for PixelGun has gotten absurdly lazy. I've seen 80-year-old geriatric dementia-ridden grandfathers who can accomplish more in a year than these developers have in 3. Minecraft's developers are stereotyped as the lazy ones. Nah, these guys will give them a run for their money. We have features in the game right now that have been labeled as coming soon for over 2 years. Sorry, I think we're actually approaching 4. Let me check really quick. Holy fuck. 2019. This stuff was released in 2019. Sorry, it has been 5 years and some of these features haven't been implemented yet. Click on clans, go to buildings, and you'll see it. 2 slots that have said coming soon for 5 years. Click on your character and tab over to the badges section and you'll see it yet again. Feature being reworked that hasn't been finished in 5 years. Fine, you can defend the clan ones, but the badges section is something they previously already had completed. This should not take 5 years to finish. There is genuinely no excuse that this shit should still even been shown by now. Each of these is a badge of shame that shows the loss of innovation and creationism that has been absent from this game for so long. And I don't think it's too far of a stretch to say that I saw players start leaving en masse when we got stuck with this new anal seething cancer of a development system for this hilariously extended period of time. The only work I've seen done to this game since is adding new guns to the game every month so the company can line its pockets with the desperate, bedridden, Big Mac munching degenerates' few remaining dollars they have in their bank accounts because they haven't even been able to go for a slight walk to the bathroom, let alone hold a position 8 hours a day in the lowest entry job a toddler could comprehend. This game has been the same for 5 years with genuinely no notable changes that anyone has ever given a shit about since. Every update since 2019 has been every month add new mythical weapon to lottery, hero, and battle pass. No one gives a shit about the new weapons anymore when all the content around them is so fucking dry and tasteless because y'all couldn't be bothered to salt fries, let alone complete a quick, easy badge system that realistically shouldn't come close to a month's worth of work, let alone 5 years. And just let's circle back to those weapons I mentioned because the only new content even coming to the game is becoming less and less accessible as the wank monkeys behind the game have been jacking up prices for these weapons higher and higher as they drop the rewarded currency used to obtain them lower and lower. For instance, when I began to quit this game, gem rewards and winner chests in the lottery maxed at around 300, for super chests about 1,000. Nowadays, you are lucky to get 100 out of a winner chest and 400 out of a super chest. That is a fucking joke. This isn't even a fucking joke. This is just pathetic. To finish off my discussion of inflation hitting harder in PixelGun than the fucking US housing market, let's talk about duels. For many creators and high-level players alike, duels acted as a way to increase your wealth in-game by mercilessly beating little Timmy's kneecaps in with a pipe wrench until you won the bet chest you both agreed to. In simple terms, if you were good at the game or abused the most broken shit in said game, you could essentially gain a consistent high-level income by winning, no microtransactions involved. You just had to go into duels, match with the player, and hope they'd match your bet chest with their gems as well. The prices for the chests were relatively fair and attainable to most people. The highest you could bet was 700, and that was for a super chest, the highest reward in the lottery for PixelGun. That was a few years ago. Now, the super chest costs about 1,000. Oh, silly me. Sorry, I mean 1,500. Oh, how could I? My bad again. How about 2,500? Yeah, you can bet 2,500 gems on a chest, and the highest winnings from the said chest are 400 gems. Are you fucking kidding me? Okay, that's already bad as is, but if we even bring in the hacking problem, you're literally risking your gems, first of all, not even on skill anymore, just anytime you bet them, and you're betting a fuck ton for no reward. Yeah, this single price change alone basically killed duels. Nobody fucking plays them besides the dirtiest, greasiest, Cheeto-tipped, lathe-munching Neanderthals spamming the next brain cancer-inducing meta while constantly reaching for a double barrel to munch on the second they take a point of damage. But to be fair, there is a lot on the line, so I guess I really can't blame you that much. Still, please kindly go fuck that, or you have the next virgin cheater who's not seen the light of day since 2016, because PixelGun has the second most laughable anti-cheat system, only being beaten by Valve's VAC system that they had in TF2 for a fucking millennia. Apparently, according to Drott, this absurd price hike was added as a way to combat cheaters and scammers directly. We're not even gonna talk about how cheaters can literally fucking whiff up gems out of thin air, so this does not combat them one bit, but as I was saying, why not just remove this mode or take away the chess betting for a while till you can actually sort this shit out, because I feel like this was only added as a way to kill another free-to-play strategy while you're at it. Circling back around to cheaters, let's dive into that. Because of the hyper-intellectual behind the development team thought it would be a good idea to rush out the Steam release, they had a shit anti-cheat system in place that was easily passed by the weakest cheats on the market. Nice job, you fucking baboon. Now that PixelGun was officially on PC, modding and cheating the game has never been easier. So even the biggest walking examples of skill issues out there have been abusing cheats, and blatantly so. On the off chance I do decide to play PixelGun, it's not a matter of if I'll run to a cheater, it's when. Because cheaters in this game are a goddamn certainty. Cheaters in this game make the cheaters in TF2 look like curb-stomped fetuses when they'll cheat so aggressively in any mode they can. At least the sniper bots didn't insta-kill you when you literally fucking spawn. And when I say these people cheat anytime they can, I think I've genuinely ran into more cheaters in free play, the literal least rewarding mode to play, than any other mode combined. Sure, the developers are working on banning these players, but y'all decided to rush this shit and opens Pandora's box, and now the dwindling remainder of your starving ant colony of a player base has to deal with this bullshit now. Touching back on the viability of PixelGun content, so, the most popular genre of content right now, it's, showcasing and selling cheats. I can only wonder why. I kid you not, half of the current most searched for content is relating to cheats in one way or another. And this is most likely for many reasons, some pure, and others much more malicious, as you can see with the clips I can find from just playing this game for a decent bit. With the amount of searches for this content, there's at least tens of thousands of people interested in cheating. The known amount of cheaters is obviously unclear, as a good chunk of people could just be cheating in currency, which, you know, at this rate, I'm finding more and more morally ambiguous due to the PixelGun team's overwhelming incompetence and failure to provide to their core players. And before your ass even points out Tapjoy, half of it or more of it is at least scams, and is going to get you harassed by spam if you actually fill it out. Even if we cut out all the cheaters, even playing the game alone with the community can be as cancerous and baldness-inducing due to the hilariously large amount of just straight-up crotch wankers playing this game. This faction of legit players includes a few people, a decent bit of them being those who think the N-word is the funniest thing since minced ramen or some other stupid analogy, which, don't get me wrong, I don't really give a fuck if you use slurs, but this is just excessive and it's just borderline, if not completely racist. Like, some of this isn't even being used for comedy's sake, but to the point where it's literally just racist characters as their clan banner, as well as their name being named the word, spammed in chat constantly by these people. It's just anywhere they can put it, honestly. Again, I do not give a shit if you use slurs, but good luck streaming this game if you decide to. Especially on Twitch, you're completely fucked. I think the only saving factor to these people that doesn't make me fucking hate the game is they just generally scream it out of frustration in chat when they get sent back to respawn after getting their scalp pulled back by a 50 caliber anti-material bullet for the 10th time, and it is the funniest shit ever. The people that just rage in this game are just generally funny because they're always like 3-year-old fetuses. These people are a cancer in the community, even if it's funny to watch it because of their fetal alcoholic nature and their lack of emotional discipline. That always makes a good show. There's also the fraction of people who had their alcoholic, hemorrhoid-ridden fathers beat them just a little too hard, so now they feel the need to take it out on anybody who's just playing the game and trying to have fun. I bet you like fun, right? Well, these people hate you and will make sure they bottom out their score on the leaderboard before you're allowed to kill them once. They'd rather eat a shotgun barrel after you graze them with a singular bullet and play like a fucking douchebag and fly around the map with a grappling hook at Mach 10, one-shotting you with the current metagun or ultimatum. If you play like this, genuinely go fuck yourself. Yes, I am salty. Fuck you. And the last faction just heavily abuses any of the recent broken weapons that the PixelGun dev team created after a long night of smoking crack and getting fucked by male strippers. Let's elaborate on those weapons. So, as of late, it seems that the PixelGun dev team have thrown out any sense in appearance as to them actually caring about game balance, as they have made some of the most blatantly retarded guns I've seen in a game in a very long time. Some of these weapons genuinely feel like you're cheating and also look like you are cheating. How about this sniper here? The winner's laser beam. This is a sniper with wall break, x-ray, jump canceling, and shot. Now, the wall break and x-ray combination was enough to get you a score of 4 on an IQ test, but add the cherry on top of electric shock and jump canceling made whatever demonic fuck who came up with this concept gain a first-class VIP ticket to the front of Hell's Gates with a 4 torture chamber suite reserved for them at the deepest pits of hell. This sniper can see through walls, which already has been a stupidly powerful trait as is, but they also made the sin of allowing this weapon that sees through walls to shoot through them as well. And not even that, this weapon, even if it grazes you, aborts your movement, turns your sensitivity to resemble that of Batman's neck mobility, and makes you no longer have the jumps to dunk on a grandmother, let alone a preschooler. This weapon alone is cancer in its purest form, and its creation alone should be no more than an argument to keep the death penalty legal in the US. The creator of this weapon has to be the most sadistic motherfucker in the world. You are terrible. Next weapon! The Deadly Icicle, along with a good list of other weapons having the weakening effect, are complete and utter bullshit. You see, weakening in PixelGun is an effect that just flat out makes it so you deal 50% less damage when active. This is an effect that's applied to other people, obviously, which is already a concept that I view as extremely unbalanced. If you add this effect, you either gotta make the weapon that applied it horrible just to serve as a utility, or extremely skill-based and hard to hit. But Cubic Games wasn't thinking with their brains. They who were thinking with their heads shoved up so far up their asses that they turned into first ever human donuts. There only exists one weapon I can think of off the top of my head that's balanced with weakening, and that's the succubus. Sure, it's called charm on that weapon, but it's the same goddamn modifier. It's a sniper rifle with a decently slow fire rate that even if you hit the headshot, has a chance to fail to kill in one hit. That idea as a weapon that has the ability to apply half damage to the enemy ain't very bad. You have to give up the ability to get a decent, consistent one-shot headshot in most enemies to have a weapon that says fuck you and halves their damage. But with Cubic Games and all of their infinite wisdom, they decided to allow weapons such as fully automatic primaries and shotguns and even rocket launchers to have this effect as well. So now, the only realistic way to win against these people is to catch them off guard and headshot them and hope to pixel Jesus that they don't have any wear on that has a chance to ignore your headshot. Otherwise, your dumbass is going right back to the respawn queue, you fucking idiot. Now, there used to also be a weapon known as the Rusted Revolver, which basically said, you know what, you don't even have to apply weakening or charm. I just always am active against anybody who tries to kill you. Yeah, that was complete and utter bullshit, and it one-shot headshot people as well. People fucking hated this thing and bitched about it for months before it got nerfed. But it was nerfed multiple times before, its barrier was not nerfed at all, so it was still the same fucking weapon and headache. It's still around today, it's just a lot less useful. Thank fuck. And then there's one last type of weapon known as shield weapons in this game. These are the absolute worst. Anybody who's went against a COD player with a riot shield knows that is the least enjoyable experience ever. Now take that riot shield from Call of Duty and make it 3 or 4 times larger on the sides. Also make it so some of them can just shoot area damage projectiles that have the potential to one-hit. PixelGun devs, are you okay? Is this a cry for help? Seriously. Now all of those may suck, but at least they require the brain of a vegetable to use. Now get this. Back in the early days of PixelGun, there was weapons with the homing missile attribute. In short, nearly everybody hated these weapons, and anyone who didn't were the ones using them, because aimbot is the most fun thing to go against. After enough community backlash, the guns in the game with the attribute were eventually delisted and completely deleted from the game, if not completely swapped out. This update was nearly universally applauded, but now, years later, they're adding homing missile weapons back into the game. It started with the Clockwork Nutcracker and Cyber Bee Swarm. which you can make an argument for because they're gadgets and thus not as obnoxious, but now we have weapons being added, which again have homing missile. The current Pixel Pass season has the first claimable weapon being one, for God's sake. Cubic Games, people fucking hate dealing with this shit. Stop adding it. There's a reason y'all removed it in the first place. Why are you adding it again? With that, it's pretty obvious there's a complete disregard for actual player experience, as no person enjoys dealing with these weapons due to their tumorous nature. But that's only the worst you have to deal with at max level. You see, PixelGun is a game that's currently dominated by veterans of the game. We're talking each player on average has been around since Clans 2.0, which was introduced 5 years ago. And that's for good reason. PixelGun is a game that is hilariously hostile to new players. Fresh install players will very quickly learn that if you aren't willing to drop an ungodly amount of time playing this game or just pay for everything, you will not have a fun time. PixelGun is probably the only game in existence where an audible sigh of dread can be heard once a player levels up. In most games, leveling up means you become stronger and are rewarded more. But in PixelGun, leveling up means your guns get weaker, and whatever currency you've been saving now needs to be devoted to upgrading your weapons, keeping you just so poor so you cannot buy any of the good weapons unless you are heavily committed, knowledgeable about the game, or you just swipe mommy's credit card. This ever so vicious cycle only ends once you reach the max level of 65, which you will be needing a grand total of about 32,645 XP for, which in other words means if you only play team fight and take first place and don't have any other XP boosters, it will take you a total of 1,632 and a quarter games, or in time's sake 108.82 hours, or in terms of days 4.53 days, which comes to about a grand total of 65% of a week. Keep in mind that's you performing at the top level. Your time spent leveling up is most likely going to be a lot higher. And even after all of that, there's still another factor that makes any new player's weapons still heavily underperform compared to a veteran's counterpart. Modules are a type of weapon customization feature in the game that are extremely scarce in the modern day. The most prestige and sought after type of module is damage modules, because they can increase a weapon's damage by a max of 30%. That puts a large majority of snipers in this game into the one-shot territory. This completely destroys weapon balance and will completely fuck you over if you dare to fight a single veteran. But modules haven't always been so scarce. Heck, they used to be so common it felt criminal. That was years ago though. Now you must join a good clan to be able to even reliably get any modules at all. But to get into a good clan, you have to have some good game performance. And to have good game performance, good modules heavily aid you. So, when I read all the Steam reviews of PixelGun and see videos where players get upset and annoyed, I can heavily emphasize and understand their situation. To put it rather simply, the current climate of the game is so hostile of new players, it doesn't surprise me one bit that the game's player base is still falling and falling while it's never actually able to pull in any new players. The game is dead because the veterans of the game are growing up and leaving to pursue social integration, while younger players don't have the same opportunities as the veterans. If PixelGun doesn't fix this glaring issue alone, I doubt PixelGun is going to last into the late 2020s. I understand PixelGun is a product and Cubic Games is a business, so they need to make money, but this current system is in no way sustainable. Sure, there have been some additions and fixes which I find to be great ideas. These include the daily task, Tapjoy, and the lucky board, but I find these more or less to be a bandage over a current 4-inch gash that is this issue. Not to mention, they've been steadily removing more and more guns from the armory, which is making it even harder to get anything to even fight with. Now, all of this stuff I wrote about a month ago. Still seeing the game in a worse condition with no improvements after I left 3 years ago, I really thought, well, if they haven't changed then, they would never change now. And then my ego got hit with a random crit when this fucking beauty dropped. Believe it or not, the devs actually did something good. Meet the Ancient Aztec Secrets event, an event on release that was considered to be the best free-play event ever released in the history of the game. I'm not kidding. This event single-handedly showed the community what the devs are actually capable of, and people loved it. In short, you get tasks to complete. Once you complete the task, you get a currency. Get 75 of this currency and you could spin a prize chest and get some genuinely good rewards. Talking a full set of mythical wear and armor, and if you spawn the chest 35 times, you are guaranteed a mythical weapon named the, I'm not even gonna try to articulate that name. It's basically the Ghost Lantern. The weapon was good, the chest is good, the armor and wear was good. All of these you could get just from playing the game, and it's not even like they were time-consuming or hard. Most could be completed in about a match or two. When I say this event was nearly universally beloved, I mean it. Genuinely, some good stuff, devs. You actually impressed me and the community. And then when we thought it was over, the one-hit wonder was actually an entire fucking album. album because their newest event is even better than the Aztec Secrets event. They released the Forest Defenders event, which upon completion awarded you with 4 mythical weapons of a pretty good quality. This event was pretty easy to complete and you got a good chunk of rewards as you did. If they kept this up, I could see a decent return of PixelGun's popularity. But that's why I preface my statement with if, because their next event, Forest Clash, was basically a pay-to-win event where all the good rewards were locked behind a $10 minimum price tag, and to cut my review of it short, none of the guns were even close to worth $10. Most of them were pretty shit to fucking horrible. Amazing play there, devs. Quite amazing. And then we have Revision Me's event, known as Gloomy Hallways. This event ain't bad, it's actually pretty full of some decent weapons. At least anything is better than the last event, which just was a glorified battle pass. Recently, PixelGun's devs seem to have listened about the criticism around the game's weapon balance. So there was a global balance test for a full day, where feedback was highly appreciated, actually even rewarded. I was pretty indifferent to it, as the biggest money-making guns were really not touched with the balance test, and it performed as the same they always do. Right now, I'd be lying to say that the game's future is in a very questionable state where I can see it getting better, but highly doubt it. The current system in place is supposed to draw the biggest spenders in and hold them at gunpoint, while neglecting the vast majority of players. The leveling system right now is in no way viable to draw new players, with modules and armory vaultings further amplifying the issue. Content creators are ditching the game left and right as views dry up more than your mother's cooter. And now that I know the dev team has their hands on Block City Wars and development of that game, I question if they even intend on keeping up with PixelGun at all and are content with just letting it die. I don't know, and I'm semi-indifferent to the future of this game. What a rather unfortunate end.